Let's just dive right into this explainer and acknowledge a really hard truth right out of the gate. Clearing out a house, it isn't just some logistics problem to solve. It is a deeply, profoundly emotional one. Because, the house you're leaving behind holds a lot more than just furniture and old dishes. We're talking about the place where your kids grew up, where decades of family holidays took place, or just where 1,000 ordinary Tuesdays happened. And when you're actually standing there, looking at that literal mountain of boxes and furniture, man, it is so easy to feel totally overwhelmed. So we're going to break down the absolute most practical, efficient ways to actually get through this whole process without making it any harder than it already is.
As we go through this, it's really important to keep one specific perspective in mind. When you pick up an object you've had for decades, or maybe something that belonged to someone who isn't here anymore, and you spend 10 minutes just staring at it, that is completely normal. It doesn't mean you're weak, and it definitely doesn't mean you're doing this wrong. It just means the life you lived in that home was real. Actually, a lot of folks find it incredibly helpful to just reframe the whole thing. Instead of calling it downsizing, which kind of feels like a loss, right? Think of it as right-sizing. You are intentionally choosing a life and a space that fits you perfectly right now.
But look, even with the absolute best mindset, the practical side of this heavily compounds that emotional weight. Because where exactly do you start when a house holds your entire life? Most of us doing this are working against a very real, very stressful deadline. Maybe it's a move-in date at a new place, a house closing, or a lease that ends on a specific day. And that ticking clock creates immense pressure. It turns what should be a thoughtful, paced process into something that frankly feels like a race you're already losing before you even open box number 1. And the single biggest mistake people make here is trying to handle every single item all by themselves.
So let's take a really honest look at your traditional options. We've all thought about these, right? If you try to sell piece by piece on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, sure, you might get the most cash per item, but wow, is it exhausting. We're talking months of messaging, dealing with no-shows, and constantly having strangers coming to your house. Okay, what about a yard sale? Super fast to set up, but you have to price everything to move in literally one weekend. You'll spend your Saturday morning dealing with early birds trying to haggle your favorite lamp down another dollar. And the absolute worst part? Whatever doesn't sell is just sitting there in your driveway on Sunday afternoon. Then you've got junk removal. It's fast, it's final, they just take it all. But it's incredibly expensive since they charge by volume, and unfortunately practically everything, even perfectly good stuff, goes straight to the landfill. Well, that brings us to what a lot of people consider the ultimate solution, the estate sale. Let's look at this option with clear, practical eyes. Estate sale companies are totally legitimate businesses, and there are absolutely good ones out there for sure. But if you're going to use one, you need to go into it completely aware of what they actually cost, and more importantly, the specific problems they do not solve. See, the commission model of estate sales means the company's main goal is just to sell as much stuff as possible at whatever price actually moves it over a 2-day weekend. And they take a massive 30 to 50% cut of the gross sales right off the top. They aren't holding out for top dollar on your mother's fine china, They're pricing to clear the room. So by the time they take their percentage, cover their advertising costs, and account for staging your home, the net cash you actually get is very often just a tiny fraction of what you originally imagined. But here is the biggest catch of the whole shebang, the huge gap between expectation and reality. You expect to toss them the keys and come back to a pile of cash and a totally empty house. But what actually happens? Estate sale companies usually do not take what doesn't sell. So the weekend ends, you've had complete strangers walking through your private space for 2 days, you made a little bit of money, and you are still staring at a house full of stuff that has to go somewhere. The process isn't over. Your problem isn't actually solved, it's just delayed. So the absolute crucial point here is finding a strategy that actually works from start to finish without draining every last ounce of your energy. We need a practical, stress-reducing game plan. Honestly, the hardest part of this entire endeavor is simply getting started, so we're going to look at the exact sequence that works best for folks facing this massive task. First things first, we need to build some momentum. Please do not try to tackle the whole house at once. That's a recipe for instant chaos and makes it feel impossible to make progress. Just take it one single room at a time. Need a quick win? Pick the room with the least emotional weight to start. Now, as you go, you're going to sort everything into 4 strict piles: keep, family, sell, and dispose. And listen to me very carefully on this one. Do not, under any circumstances, let yourself create a 5th pile called decide later. Trust me, that pile will just become a massive, overwhelming monster waiting for you at the end of the line. All right, once things are sorted, here is the exact order of operations you want to follow. Step 1. Secure cash from a network of buyers first. Let motivated people claim the items that actually have value. Step 2. Arrange donation pickups for those mid-tier items. Charities like Habitat for Humanity Restore or the Salvation Army will literally come right to your door to pick up furniture and appliances. And then Step 3. Call junk removal. Seriously, junk removal should always be your last call, never your first, because every item a buyer takes or a charity picks up is one less cubic foot you are paying a junk service to haul off to a landfill.
Now, let's jump back to step 1 for a second. Finding those buyers. This is exactly where people get bogged down, spending hours listing individual items on local apps. But what if there was another way? I mean, what if someone just backed up a truck and took it all?
Enter the ultimate downsizing hero, the one-trip buyer. We're talking estate liquidators, professional resellers, and flippers who literally make their living acquiring items in bulk. They are looking for volume. The more stuff you have, the more interested they are. Now, let's be clear. They are not going to pay you full retail price for your things. But the real value here isn't getting top dollar. It's the incredible service. They show up, they load the heavy furniture themselves, they take it all in one afternoon, and they hand you cash on their way out the door. It's like magic. They are giving you your time, your energy, and your space back instantly.
And this exact concept is what powers the absolute ultimate downsizing tool, WeBuyThat.com. Instead of you having to hunt down these professional one-trip buyers or crossing your fingers that they happen to drive past your yard sale, this platform was built specifically to connect you with them seamlessly.
The whole process is incredibly straightforward, perfectly designed to remove all the usual friction. You just hop on the site and submit your items once, completely for free. No writing 100 different descriptions, just snap some photos to help the buyers decide. Transparency is super important here, because buyers who know exactly what they're getting show up ready to haul it away. Then you pick your pickup preference, and boom! The system immediately matches you with a network of local, serious professionals in real time. These aren't just casual scrollers who might flake out. These are highly motivated buyers getting a real-time alert about your stuff.
I really want to leave you with this one core thought today. You don't have to figure this out piece by piece. Downsizing is an emotionally taxing, physically exhausting transition. You are closing a major chapter in your life, and honestly, that deserves a moment of acknowledgement, not just a frantic, never-ending checklist. You absolutely do not have to tackle this massive logistical burden alone, turning your move into some grueling part-time job where you're just haggling with strangers all day.
You have options that actually respect your time and your sanity. So if you're staring down a house full of memories and belongings, and that deadline is breathing down your neck, take the very first, easiest step toward peace of mind. List everything once, let the local pros come to you, and start your next chapter with a completely clean slate. Tell them what you've got, and let WeBuyThat.com find who wants it. So the only question left is, what are you going to do with all the time and energy you save?